So I've been podcasting since 2020, and over the years, I've seen some real success with my show. I've interviewed incredible guests, built a solid audience, and I've even ranked in the top charts. But looking back, I can tell you, earlier on, I worried about way too many things that didn't really matter. So if you're thinking about starting a podcast in 2025, let me save you some time and some heartache. In this video, I'm going to break down the things that I wouldn't stress about if I was starting my podcast all over again, so you can create a podcast that matters. First thing I wouldn't worry about is having the right equipment or having the best equipment. You can always start with what you have. When I first started my podcast, I didn't have a great mic. I had a decent mic, but I had a mic and I had a laptop, and that's what your boy was working with. This is my first mic, Audio-Technica. I actually got this on Facebook Marketplace. They wanted 80 for this joint. I got them down to 40, the 50. Got it on the 50. I think it was stolen though. I think it was stolen, but you know, I don't judge. I paid hard-earned money for this mic. I did anyway. Now I have some great mics. I got this mic. This is for when I record here at home. This is the pod mic. It's the USB and the XLR. Got these joints right here. These pod mics, legit, heavy, but legit. But that's what I have now, right? I've been doing this for a minute and I've invested into podcasting. But to start off, if you have AirPods, I know on TikTok Shop they have the knockoff, Shure mic. If you want to take that risk and see if that works for you, do that. It's only 60. I think it's $60. If you can spare that. But if you can't and you want to start a show right now, AirPods and whatever you have will work for you. Camera. Now I know a lot of people are doing video podcasts now. I record my podcast. I do the video and the audio. But I was so stressed out about video in the beginning. I'm not going to hold you. The first, I want to say 6 months of my podcast, I didn't even post the video because it wasn't perfect. It wasn't great. And for me, I'm like, man, looking back at it, that's a lot of content that I could have put on YouTube and chopped that up for clips, whatever, but I never did. I just focused on the audio. But if I wasn't so in my head about what it looked like, because when you're starting out, all your videos look trash. But the phones we have now, like these joints, man, you can get some really good video from here. I am on the team of investing in your craft. So if you want to use a camera, get a good camera. You don't have to use your phone. But hey, when you're starting out, and phone works. The next thing I wouldn't worry about is upload schedule. When I started my podcast, I felt like I had to post weekly episodes, solely because all the podcasters that I followed, they had a weekly upload schedule. So I was just trying to mimic what they were doing. Unfortunately, when I first started my podcast, I didn't have a whole lot of content to start with. I'll get to that point later. As I'm trying to build my podcast, get guests, and create content for it, there were times where I didn't have an episode to go out that week. So I'm trying to find somebody who can do an episode that week just so I can record it, just to get it out. And some of that content was good, but some of that also was you can just feel that it was rushed just because I did it to get something out for that week. What matters more is consistency over time. I would much rather you post quality, consistent content than to just push something out just to get it out. And understand how much time you have. If I were starting over, understanding where I was at in my life, how much time I had, I wouldn't have done a weekly upload schedule. I probably would have done it every 2 weeks to give myself some time to relax and to build up content and be consistent with that. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you do a weekly, bi-weekly, or a monthly show as long as you're consistent with it. So just a quick pro tip, batch your interviews. Something that I do now that I wish I would have done when I first started was get about 6 or 7 episodes in before I even posted one. It takes so much stress and pressure off of you. Knowing that I don't have to worry about what's coming out the next week allows me to do all the other things behind the scenes to create more videos and get more interviews. Now I can focus on the type of content that I want to put out. I can focus on reaching out to my potential guests and having those meetings with them to talk about what we're going to be discussing on the interview, and it doesn't have to feel rushed. So now I have like, man, 5, 6 episodes just sitting in the chamber ready to go and not have to worry about it. So starting out, do that. It'll save you a lot of time and it'll save you a lot of stress. The next thing I wouldn't worry about is how many listeners I have. Because let's be honest, nobody knows you. When you're just starting out and you're just trying to build yourself as a thought leader in your space, whatever that space is, it takes time to build that up. I thought that I needed to have thousands of downloads, thousands of listeners in the beginning to feel like I was worthy of continuing to do this, and that's just not the case. The truth is, your audience will grow with time. The longer you do it, the longer you're consistent with it. Consistency is going to be all consistency. The longer that you are putting in the work, your audience will grow with you. So don't just focus on how many downloads or how many impressions. Continue to focus on bringing valuable content to your audience, because if it's valuable, they will share it with somebody else and you will get another fan. And one thing that I am big on now is engagement is way far superior than numbers. Even a small engaged audience is better than a big disengaged one. So focus on the value. Don't focus on how many people are in your community. The last thing that I wouldn't worry about is being perfect. You have no idea how I used to overanalyze every every pause, every little thing that I would do in my interviews. It's not that deep. The fun thing is no one expects you to be perfect. Matter of fact, I don't think anybody wants you to be perfect. At this point in my podcasting career, I don't even fix my audio. I just let it be what it is. You're gonna have to love me for me. Every you're gonna have to feel that. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. But to be honest, editing can clean up your audio. Don't overthink it. People connect with you, not with perfection. Continue to be you, and if you are Mr. Or Mr. or Mrs. like this, like that, like this, that, the third, that is you. People want that. So what you should focus on instead, if I was starting my podcast now, 2025, all over again, there are 3 things that I would focus on. 1, good storytelling and valuable content. There is so much power in the story, and being able to tell stories is amazing. So if you can tell a story with your content or through your interviews, whatever the case may be, start with storytelling. The second thing I would do would build a relationship with my audience and my guests. You can do that through commenting on posts, your newsletter, staying in contact with your guest after you've done the interview, however you choose to do that. But keep that going, because you're building a relationship with these people, and that's pretty cool. And the last thing And probably the most important, in my opinion, is enjoy the process. If you can enjoy what you're doing, then why are you doing it? Podcasting is one of those things where when you're starting out and you don't have a big network behind you or a huge name where you're getting all the sponsorships right away, you're doing this for the love. And that's cool. You gotta be able to love it. Every episode I do, I enjoy. And if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. So enjoy the process, and you'll be all right. And that's it. Those are the things that I wouldn't stress about if I was starting my podcast all over again. The truth is, getting started is the most important thing. I know you hear that on every video you hear about this, but it's the truth. Getting started is the most important thing. Don't worry about being perfect. Don't worry about the quality of your equipment, and don't worry about your massive audience. If your mom is listening to you, that's cool. Just focus on creating the content you actually enjoy, and the rest will come with time. Now I want to hear from you. What is something that is holding you back from starting your podcast? Drop a comment below. I love to help. And if you found this video helpful, do me a favor. Drop a like, share it with someone you think may benefit from it or find value in it as well. I'll be doing more videos about podcasting that is different from my usual content, but hey, I'm a podcaster, so I gotta talk about it. Thank you guys again for being here. My name is Corey Dion Lewis. I'll let you next time.